today is not about the research that we do in our group in Brazil related to the gene-environment relationships, but about this initiative that started a few years ago, that we name it now primosnext, which is a kind of graduation school for international graduate school for graduate students, where we try to discuss the important aspects of that should be the important aspects for the future generation of ecotoxicologists. So this is the target of our initiative, which is the typical graduate student. You know, he is young, he's full of enthusiasm in his first conference. Nobody really cares about his poster, and he really wants to have a permanent position in academia, which we know that nowadays is getting more and more difficult to get. So this graduate student is now in the media again. So this is a paper that was published in Nature like 2 weeks ago, which discussed the huge production of PhDs in the world nowadays. So you have places like China, Mexico, and Brazil, where the rate of production of PhDs has increased up to 40% over the last 10 years. Brazil is producing now 10,000 PhD a year, but that is not really helping them getting jobs. So you are invited to look at this paper in Nature. It's very interesting. And what we started to look at is that maybe if you look at conferences like PRIMO and CTAC and other conferences, especially targeting the graduate students, what I started to sense is that many times we are forgetting what is the question behind the answer, which we all know that is biomarker. So we have to be a little bit careful not to put the cart behind ahead of the horses, right? And I think that's what a lot of PhD students mainly are doing. The problem starts with very boring presentations and posters. Why does that happen? No? Sometimes, always science has to be correct, and many times it is interesting. Sometimes it's not so interesting, but it's very important. The thing is, we must relearn how to tell stories. Otherwise, we are telling bad stories, and people are losing interest on the good research. Sometimes telling the story is not the problem. The problem is really not having a good scientific question. Today we have many students that are motivated by a new machine, a new technique, and we forget the question behind it. Other times, because people have we are like the third or the fourth generation of ecotoxicologists, students are simply not studying. No? So they know that they must control pH for experiment, but they don't know what is pH anymore. Even though they know how to use a pH meter. Okay? So, and in the end we are getting too dependent on technology. So many students, to get a result is just to push the button of this complicated machine that they don't really know how to use. So, of course, this is not an extensive, not an exclusive list of all these problems, but we felt that we should do something to take care of this future generation of ecotoxicologists so they don't fall into these traps. So what we did was, we organized last year in October this international school that we named ISM, International School of Marine Ecology and Ecotoxicology. It was sponsored mainly by the Brazilian National Research Council and the Rio de Janeiro State Research Council. And why we did that in Brazil? First of all, because I'm Brazilian, and because Brazil is beautiful, it's fun, and it's cheap, even though it used to be cheaper, okay? So for those of you who received my email invitation and could not attend, this was the view of the pousada where the instructors were. And also it's Arraial do Cabo, this small city close to Rio, the Brazilian Navy has a marine research institute there, so they helped us a lot with infrastructure. But also, if you see this graph, Brazil is a country that is relevant among many other developing countries that had increased his science over the last 20 years. So here you can see number of papers. After 98, Brazil joined the select group of countries that produce more than 1% of the world science. And we do that with a very small budget. So we try, but we keep investing like 1% of our GDP in science. And so how can you increase science without investing on it? Of course, increasing the number of PhDs. So this is why it's important to focus, to organize something like this, a school like that, in a country where you can join a lot of people from developing countries, like allow students from developing countries to attend. So this is a very short movie and showing like the attendance. We had a global coverage, Eastern Europe, Asia. Francesco came from Italy. And our two Finnish girls, I believe, are in the audience. Johanna and Malin came from Sweden, also Maya. So Joanna here also in the audience. Stegman, they came from Canada and the United States. We had 3 students from Mexico, students from Colombia, of course, many Brazilian students. Half of the attendance, like it was 40 students from several places in Brazil. Also in Southern South America, we had Chile, we had Uruguay. Luckily, no Argentines because they suck on soccer. We have Daniele and Rafael, who came from Santa Catarina. Some students from Rio, and we all joined in this beautiful peninsula 2 hours from here, which is Arraial do Cabo. And this picture is not to show that only that we had beautiful girls, but as a general pattern in science, we had like 75% of women attending to the course. I believe this is they worked very hard. This is Sonia Rodrigues, a very important Brazilian writer who gave a very good class on science communication, how to write and how to read. And they all had to write and read in English. It was very interesting. Of course, we had many moments of leisure. And this other small movie is to show you like all the instructors that were there, and it will give you an idea of the program, things that we discussed, with the soundtrack of Olodum. the beautiful girl delivering the certificate. So the result was, as you could see, it was a huge success. Could discuss science not only during the class, but in all the leisure moments. And in the end, we asked people to fill out this form. How did they evaluate? I'm not going to show all the results here, but you can go to the website and see how they consider it a huge success. Like they learned important things. They could use the information that they got on the school. And I made a big effort for the school not to end up after it was over. So we created a diary. So if you go to our blog, you have day by day the activities that we had during the school. The students create a Facebook group about the school. They keep changing, even sharing publications on the Facebook group. What I really wanted to do is that we recorded all the classes, and I wanted to put them on YouTube. So we created a YouTube channel, but unfortunately, to do that is so time-consuming and so expensive that I could not make it. So still, it's for the next course we are going to plan that in advance, because in the end, the person that we hired to record and then to edit all the movies said, Mario, it was much more than we could imagine, so we couldn't make it. So we have just a few classes on the group. So the big concern after the success of the first one was that the possibility that it would be, a one-off, and it would never happen again. So what I decided to organize another one.